Ronnie Sanders here. This is take 2 because right in the middle of my first video I was interrupted. But anyways, that being said, tomorrow is the first day of our Wake Up Now, Simple Freedom 90K and 90-day push. We're going to change a lot of lives. We're going to help a lot of people break free from a lot of things that have held them down for quite a while. Debt, being low on jobs, things like that. But after today, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to describe some of the products with you. I'm going to go through a lot of marketing techniques that I've learned over the years. Some other things as well. But today, being that it's the last day before I start doing that, I just want to share with you a little bit of my story. You know, who is Ronnie Sanders? More or less. I was born the son of Ronald Allen Sanders. I'm Ronald Allen Sanders II. My son is Ronald Allen Sanders III. And I have 2 daughters, Shelby Lynn and Lacey Ann. And my daughter Lacey is, we call her Lacey Boo. Lacey Boo's on her way here right now for the summer. I'm excited. I'll see her probably within the next, hopefully 14 hours, so I'm excited about that. But I was born in Fort Rucker, Alabama, and when I was, I think, about 4 or so, not very old, we moved to Lawton, Oklahoma. My dad was in the Army, stationed at Fort Sill there. And I lived most of my life in Lawton, Oklahoma, at least my youth. Being in the military, oftentimes, for those of you that are military families out there, you get moved around a lot. My dad managed to, on 2 separate occasions, when they wanted us to go for a 4-year tour in Germany, he managed to pull some strings and did a 1-year tour in Korea. So twice in my youth, my father, serving his country in the military, left his family and went away for a year at a time. My mother, Connie, she's a wonderful, caring woman, and she took care of my sister, Stacy, my brother, Derek, and my brother, Dustin, and I. Stacy's older, Derek, and then Dustin. Dustin's the youngest. So let's see. I went elementary school. I went to Pioneer Park Elementary School. And then from there I went to MacArthur Junior High School and MacArthur High School. About the 4th grade, I started one of the loves of my life, and that's wrestling. My coach, Steve Speedy Gonzalez. What a character he was. Still is. But I was very blessed to have 2 loving parents that did so much for my brothers and my sister and I. They spent most of their weekends traveling around the state of Oklahoma to stinky gymnasiums to allow my brothers and I to pursue our wrestling. And people like my father, another great man, Jack Parker, and many others, they spent their time sorry, I get choked up, serving a bunch of us little roughneck kids. So I learned service at a very early age. So it was a good thing. It was a great thing. I also played soccer. When I was in kindergarten, I wanted to play soccer, and that happened to be when my father was on one of his tours. And for me to play soccer in the 1st grade, we had to have a coach. There was no coaches available. So I got on the phone with Ron Sr. and asked him, hey, I want to play soccer, and we don't have a coach. Well, Ron didn't know the first thing about soccer, but he started getting books and learned and started coaching my team through Pioneer Park, and then Derek's team through Pioneer Park, and then Dustin's team through Pioneer Park. So you can see that I've had a pretty good example of somebody willing to serve and give up their time and life for others, which is one of the reasons I do what I do. Over the years, when I turned 13, I started down a pretty rough path. I started drinking and drugging and sexing and all the other ings that you're not supposed to do at 13. It's not an easy road. I don't recommend it. That being said, my God has pulled me through. And right out of high school, I received whatever it is you receive to go to a nomination to go to the Air Force Academy. And because I was a wrestler, and with the Air Force Academy, there's not any way to redshirt other than go to the preparatory school. So I went to the United States Air Force Academy preparatory school for a year. True to form, I was a wild child, and I like to break rules. You know, it's a fact. I couldn't understand why they said I didn't need a car, or couldn't sneak off base all the time to go drink. So over that year, you know, and I did finish the prep school, and I did receive the certificate and all that other stuff, but I wasn't asked back, to say the least. So that was kind of a moment of me learning failure, personal failure, due to my own choices and actions. I'm going somewhere with all of this at the end, so pay attention. So then I went back to Lawton, Oklahoma, and I went to Cam University, and then I went to another prep school for the Air Force Academy because I kind of felt maybe that's what I should do. I didn't want to do it, but whatever. So then I got kicked out of that one as well for, you guessed it, sneaking off and drinking and partying. You're starting to see a theme here. Went back to Cameron University, then I went to the University of Oklahoma, then I went to the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma. The entire time, just partying and playing and enjoying my life. And not making the grades, attending class, but not seriously. I love school. I love to get educated. I've got a lot of knowledge, but I never focused on any one thing during that period of time in my life. Well, I did. I got introduced to DJing, house music. Changed my life. You know, for the longest time, house music, you know, those old stinky, kind of like the old stinky gymnasiums, but old warehouses, dusty warehouses. We'd go in and invade, fill it full of speakers and turntables and flashing lights, and we threw down. We were having a party. The party. My good friend and business partner, Reed Moranville, one of the best friends that I think I've ever had, ended up losing his life on a drug overdose. Very tough time in my life, you know, because it could have just as easily been me. Throughout my life, I've been preserved. I want you to know that. I've totaled more cars. I've rolled down the freeway at 85 miles an hour. I've driven straight into trees. You know, I've driven off 90-foot cliffs where I should have hit rocks, and miraculously I didn't. I've been preserved, and I'm grateful for that. Now, after Reed passed away, and I kind of lost the love of my life. She got tired of my shit, running around partying all the time when she was ready to get serious and move on with her life. So I picked up and I moved to the state of Arizona. Went out to where my uncle was, my Uncle Rick, great man, another man that gives and gives and gives. Another great example in my life of a life of service to others. So I started working with my Uncle Rick, learning the cable business. It was a good time of my life. I worked with my cousins. I worked with a couple other guys. I learned wiring and everything else. I threw myself into the church at that time. I wasn't doing drugs. It was miraculously stopped at that point. But I felt lonely. I wanted a family. I wanted children. And so I jumped into relationship after relationship too fast, too quick, and I eventually got married way too fast. Let this be a lesson to all you young people out there. Before you get married, make sure you know the person you're marrying, the family of the person you're marrying. Know these things, okay? That being said, I was blessed with 3 beautiful children out of the deal that I mentioned earlier. So God can take any tragedy and make it good. Take a look at my life, for instance. But after about 10 years of marriage, I was working for the phone company for many of those years, 10 years. I did take a hiatus. I went and was a U.S. Border Patrol agent for a year. Didn't do so well with that because yo no hablo español very good, and so they didn't invite me back after the 1-year Spanish test, because I'm just a gringo from the United States of America that can't protect his borders because I don't speak Spanish. You'll see that I'm very outspoken on a lot of issues because there's a lot of things that are wrong in this day and age. And, well, we'll get back to that. So after 10 years of marriage, pretty loveless marriage, there's some issues I won't go into because I don't need to blast anybody out, but my ex-wife then took my 3 children and went to another state, filed a restraining order against me. In my opinion, my humble opinion, it was kidnapping. She took my children from their home and their school and their church. I spent $20,000 on a shyster lawyer to get my children back. That he might as well, held me at gunpoint to take that $20,000 because he didn't do shit. So I turned to drinking really hard. Liquor, vodka, day in, day out. A lot of pills, day in, day out. I got 3 DUIs in a year's time. I lost my job, my house, my cars, my freedom, my dignity, my self-respect. I lost everything. And ultimately the only thing left was me and my God. So I decided to get to know us a little bit better, the 2 of us. We started working together. How about that? And I went through some really rough times, because of my criminal background, if you will, from the DUIs. I couldn't find a job more than $10 an hour. All the while, child support, bills, all these things stacking up. I woke up one day, $250,000 in debt. And really didn't like my life. And I decided to make a change. I took a look at all the things around me and what I believed needed to be changed. And I knew somebody needed to do it. And I knew... Sorry about that little intermission there. Camera was full, I had to delete some things. But where I left off, I believe, is I noticed that there was a lot of wrong in the world. And nobody that I knew at the time was trying to do anything about it. And I figured, what the hell? So I took it upon myself to start fixing some things that I see are wrong. with our society, our government, and the world. I'm writing this video or recording this video so people will see that I'm not some crazy loon. No, I'm crazy, just not insane. I bought into that for a while, but I'm not. I think clearer than I've ever thought in my life. I know that I know that I know that what I'm doing is right. So, there you have it. Ronnie Sanders is going to help change the world. And it's a lot of fun. I don't have to work at jobs anymore, but I do work my ass off. But it's a lot of fun. And so when the shit does hit the fan, and it will, when many say that well, you'll hear what they say. Know me for who I am. I'm Ronnie Sanders. I'm just a good old boy from the Great Plains of Oklahoma that wants to make a difference. Serving others, just as my Savior did, Jesus Christ. Okay? So know who I am. So when people say what they're going to say, you can say, it's just not true. Thanks for watching. I hope I didn't bore you. And I got to get some things done today. Got to get the lawn mowed. I've got several interviews. I've got to get a web page up, get some autoresponders set up. I'm not playing, guys. This is real. Alright? Thanks for watching. Adios.